Hey people, so I wanted to bring up a topic that I'm hoping it's not really it's not a problem, it's not an issue, it's just something I've seen that I find rather interesting about the lifestyle. Um, when I first got into the scene, most people used a scene name. Sometimes it was a variation on their real name, or a name that something they remember from literature, something from something that sounded like it belonged in the life and stuff like that. Well, I remember when um, it it started changing. And I know I'm going to sound like an old man here, you know, even though I'm not that old yet. Even though the gray beard, the gray in the beard kind of says differently. But um, when people would start talking about their usernames on like Yahoo, and that started to become a replacement for their scene name. Now we're seeing the exact same thing happen with Fetlife. Where last I went to a class recently where because this is the first time I'd been to this location, on the form you sign that basically says, here's the rules, this is this, you're not a cop, blah, blah, blah. Or you're not acting as, you might be a cop, but you're not acting, as authority. Even though it's kind of worthless, it's pretty much not worth the paper it's written on. But the but on the form, where it used to be, scene name or known as or whatever, it was your fet name. And the thing is that I can get it from that because it's a quick way to, instead of, let me get your email address and your phone number and this and that and this and that, this is a way that you can, because like 99% of the people who are going to come in found the place through FET. Okay? 99% of the communication about clubs and organizations now is through FET. Yes, there's still emails. Yes, there's still word of mouth. But the majority of it is through FET. And I got lucky, and I was early enough adopter of of FET, and I have absolutely no issue with FET. I love FET. I have two different accounts, one for this YouTube, one for me personally. Um, and then of course, pretty much everybody I know in the lifestyle has a FET account. It's odd now not to meet somebody that had a FET account. But I got in early enough where I was able to use my actual scene name as my FET name. This isn't so true anymore, where people are choosing to create a FET name and use that as their scene name. I see this with my girl. Um, her FET name has nothing to do with what I call her or what she is or anything like that. It's a Um, it's a name that she's used in multiple other things, and it just happened to be the name, that was that thing that she'd used over and over in other places was available on Fet. So she now, whenever we go to a club, they don't say, her name. They say her Fet name. And that's all people, everybody buy. Went to a munch where we had a new young person come in, and their name was just something random. I mean, it's not something random. That's not the name, but you know what I mean. It's like, it felt like they just picked two words out of a hat that sounded good together, and then that was their name, and then that's what they'll be known by pretty much for the rest of the time they're in the community. I think that we should be striving to try, if we are going to keep Fet as our primary source of communication. It's our social network. It is what we go to when we want to learn about the lifestyle. If we want to keep that, then we should be trying to make our usernames on Fet reflect what we are, our scene names or our real names. As everybody knows, I use my real last name as part of my scene name, and it's part of both of my accounts on Fet. So I don't see an issue with that. I've made the choice where, I've made a decision that I'm willing to be a public figure, to have my face, my voice, my real name out there in the public sphere. And I understand why people don't do that. But I think if you're going to call yourself something nasty on Fet, I don't, I'd rather you, go with, girl, whatever, and I know I'm going to have people who are going to go, oh, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think it does. Part of what made this community click was our anonymity, was the fact that we were able to hide ourselves among the rest of society. I had a comment on my video about the BDSM as performance art, that stated, what does it matter? There's sexual images everywhere, blah blah blah. We need to be better than that. And part of that is actually embracing the history of our community. And part of the history of our community is keeping what we do private. We don't blurt it out in public. And to me, part of that is having solid scene names. Something that, dropping lighters, something that that is a name where I can call you that, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to have to go through the issue of calling you by one name here and then by another name here and by another name over here. It gets too confusing and annoying for me. And I know, as you're an old man, that's why it's annoying and confusing. It just, it was annoying and confusing when, most of the people I know in the lifestyle, I know them by their scene name. I don't know them by their real name, nor do I really care. It's not relevant to me in my what's going on with me. So I know I'm turning this into a rant, so I'm going to probably title this as a rant. If you get to this part, you've already seen that because that was the title. But yeah, like I said, I just wish people would, before choosing a name for Fet, pick a name, a really good solid scene name, and then do everything they can to get that as a Fet name. I just think it would be better for our community in the long run. So that's it for now. Be well and safe.